Hello. I know that not many of you have watched the episode called I Am All the Sith in this playthrough, where we are having a very important boss battle, so you should catch up on that. And here we are, supposedly, hopefully, about to end this and return to the mundane reality of the actual Knights of the Old Republic writing and gameplay. Can we hit up our guys here to learn what's up? Kobayashi is unconscious, so shouldn't someone be healing him somehow? Mechanic, shouldn't you be tending to him instead of just watching the pretty colors? Idiot. He's just too absorbed, yeah, that's the word. Too absorbed in this. Right. I made it very good recently, because they're all being a Chani fighting naked. I'm so smart, and according to lore. Solomon, you have allowed the pace of this combat to be dictated by your anger. This had made your form careless and has reduced the efficiency of your technique.
I do not need lessons on combat from you. The techniques you use even now are derived from my teachings that you are not worthy to practice.
You do not need to do this, Solomon. It will only serve to bring you more pain and more torment.
I can defeat you. I will defeat you. I swore a promise to deliver justice to the one who you abandoned, and I intend to keep that promise.
What about Kobayashi? Does he not deserve justice? Does he not deserve vengeance? Good point.
The Arcanian? He was nothing more than a failed Padawan. He had nothing to offer you, nothing to teach you. It would be a waste of your efforts to seek vengeance for one so unworthy.
Then you underestimate him, as I once did. See, he swore vengeance and whatever to himself about you, not about him, so he's completely justified. Oh hey, yes, you win. Hardly even with my input, too. Which is good, because I stripped away everything she had, and we were winning back then when it wasn't a cutscene yet. Is he dead for good? Or do we just pretend?
I wasn't strong enough to avenge her, to deliver her justice. I have failed myself. I have failed her.
No one asked for. What a fucking simp, dude. The one you fight for. What was her name?
Her name was Shauna May. She was a young child who I had rescued from a life of slavery on Sliheron. I quickly recognized her potential in the Force, and so brought her into the Jedi Order as my first and only apprentice. Always was she eager to learn, devouring any knowledge that I imparted to her. She quickly grew into a formidable Jedi and a formidable woman. It is said that Jedi embrace serenity as a way of life. Yet for we Ichani, it is battle that lay at the heart of our beliefs.
You should not be a Jedi,
it was
then.
Battle that called to her as the Mandalorian Wars ravaged a weakened galaxy. Driven by a sense of justice and integrity, she became a strong supporter of Revan's policy of Jedi intervention into the war. But she opened her heart to this calling without considering the consequences. She was manipulated by the one she followed
she wasn't.
Transformed from an individual into a tool of war without an identity to call her own. She was Shauna May.
Chana.
No longer.
You could have spelled it with an S.
She abandoned me. She had forgotten the child.
You're very abandonable.
On Sliheron.
You're not that important here.
Even when you at last learned of the truth behind your march to war and the sacrifice of identity which later followed, you still chose Revan over me.
It's
Why?
not truth.
Is Revan's grip over you still that strong? Does his manipulation still run that deep?
He's just that right. There is no manipulation, and I doubt there ever was. Yes, great. The choices I have made and the consequences which followed are my own, and they always have been. Great, I really like that line.
You didn't join the Mandalorian Wars and become a Sith out of choice. It was because of Revan's manipulations. You must accept that we are not the ones at fault here, as I have.
Hey, keep telling yourself that. You are living a lie, Solomon. Please, just let it go.
No, from the very beginning it was Revan. It was Revan.
What else could I say? I was shaped in the image of a proud man and was trained every single day for many years in the hope that I would one day become a greater being than he. Yet in thanks, I wounded him so deeply when I abandoned him for war that he could not accept the truth and so chose to cast the blame elsewhere, to the Jedi who led the movement I had chosen over him, to Revan. And over time, this truth was lost in the seething anger which now clouded his judgment, and he became nothing more than a shell of a man consumed by a false vengeance. The
truth.
I failed you, Solomon, as your apprentice, as your protege, and as the being you had deemed worthy of to surpass you.
You are wrong. You never failed as my apprentice. It was I who failed as your teacher. I just couldn't bring myself to accept it, and instead allowed my pursuit of this false vengeance to consume me, to shape me into this creature of hate.
You should kill yourself over this.
Jedi Master, Ijani Battle Master, I do not deserve such titles.
Yeah, especially since you lost multiple times. You have seen through your lies and have at last accepted the truth. There is strength to be found in this, Solomon. Just fucking die already. You're long overdue.
No, not strength. These are just the revelations of a broken man, all too willing to cast the blame on others, yet keeping none for himself. At Terrace, it was the pursuit of vengeance that revived me, healed me, and granted a purpose to devote existence towards. Without it, I see now there is little left for me here.
See how important vengeance is?
So then, Shadow, I ask of you, adhere to your master's will. Kill me.
You're not her master.
Kill me now.
I am. Shadow. She was a tool of war wrought by the horror of the Mandalorian Wars. She has no more purpose here. She has no more purpose anywhere.
Then as Shauna May, the Jedi, the child on Sliheiron, do your master one final duty and end his corrupted life forever.
She was lost at the Battle of Malachor V. I am no more her now that I was as Revan's shadow, the being without identity.
Identity. It seems in these trying times its true meaning has become lost to me.
I believe the true identity of an individual is ultimately derived over time. It is shaped by the people we meet. It is shaped by the choices we make. This weird lighting here all over the place. And it is shaped by those who teach us through their actions that life without identity is no life worth living. We're going back to her having sacrificed her identity. And we just said that she hasn't. It was Kobayashi who made me realize this. Through his kindness, his honesty, and ultimately his death. He's alive though. You can abandon this identity again. He's alive. That's false.
Kobayashi, that one is stronger than I had thought. He still lives, if only barely.
Kobayashi is still alive?
Yes, he is still alive. He has
and
not
you're talking
allowed
bullshit
death to claim him yet, and clings to life out of the single hope that he will see you again.
But the nearest medical facility to here is at Dresde, and nobody in his condition could survive such a journey. It's hopeless. If only we had invested in Force Heal, or had life support packs.
Since Terrace, I have focused all my efforts on seeking a means to destroy. I have since forgotten what it feels like to concentrate my thoughts on restoration.
Unfortunately, he did invest in that.
It will be difficult, I think, but I will be stronger for it.
Solomon, what do you intend to do? Just cast heal. Join our party and cast heal.
Matilda, the child on Sliheiron. I was once your teacher. Now you are mine. A life without identity is no life worth living. So I will use what life I have left to heal Kobayashi. I do not do this to seek your forgiveness. See this only as a gift. From the last remnants of your old life to the new one that awaits you.
Solomon, you...
No, there is no more time for words. Every second I delay, Kobayashi comes closer to death.
Tell me about it.
Before me, I will do this now.
It always saves time when you explain it. He wasn't even animated to move towards, so at least do it as he walks, right? Man, if only someone knew Force Heal, right? Or had life support packs.
I do not know for certain if it will be successful. Kobayashi may be too close to death.
Then we can only hope.
Hope. We shall see if it favors you, and if it favors him.
That's not what hope does. What? Couldn't you have called upon Force to something nothing is impossible through Force? Can you die already? Ah, there we go. Solomon! Why aren't you calling him Darius? That's his name. Solomon is his surname. Thank you for everything, Darius. Too little, too late. And I'm talking about the name.
Darius. A name I haven't heard from you in a long time. Not since you were a child.
Why did we switch?
When I was a boy, I once heard an Echani proverb. Death smiles at us all. All a man can do is smile back. At least I have found a reason to smile.
Dying? He died doing what he loves, losing. Oh, she put on clothes. Telana's clothes.
Are you enjoying the view? I don't know if it's the near-death experience talking, but there is a tranquility here that is absent on the rest of Korriban. I hadn't noticed it until now.
Yeah, that's funny because Solomon said that. It's a Kirakan sin. Now that his spirit has at last been destroyed, these lands can no longer feed upon the hatred that was entombed here. The last remnants of that ancient betrayal have been swept away forever.
Solomon, too, had a part to play. He chose to save the life of another at the expense of his own. I'm sure the Force took that as a cue to work its magic and rid this place of darkness, even if only for a time.
That's not how this works. Someone will always be here, as a last bastion of light on a world of darkness.
That sounds like a tough battle, but I guess Echani were always a little crazy when it came to war.
I will do what I can to honor that presence here, as one final gift to the man who was once my life. I'm your life now!
I believe Mechanique is close to completing his scan. It shouldn't be long now before we find it.
I found it! I found it! The Orion! It's not too far from here!
So, are you ready? Shauna May?
Chana. Chana May was the name of a Jedi lost long ago in the Mandalorian Wars. She made a choice, and it cost her dearly, but she had no regrets.
Oh, so it's like that, is it? Then what do you want to be called? Kobayashi's already taken, if that's what you were thinking.
Serategana. The Brotherhood of Shadow has at last been defeated, and Darius Solomon gained a new outlook on his life before sacrificing it to save another from death. It's over, Revan. It's finally over. And it is now that our paths must again be parted. I have decided to join with Kobayashi and Mechanique as they journey on the Orion. Serdegana is no longer an alias. It is who I shall be from this day onwards. Well, so... Alright, so it was going like this. She says, no, there was no manipulation. You just lied to yourself and convinced yourself that there was, because that helped you cope, you fucking simp. And that's fine. That's pretty cool that they commented on it. They made some sense of it. I'll agree. Problem is then... Right, she then... Fuck, there's a lot. Hold on. She says that she admits that it was her choice. It was her choices, there was no manipulation. Problem is, we had scenes where she admits that she agrees that it was a manipulation. We were never privy to a scene where she still has doubts or doesn't agree, or we weren't in the situation where we could argue our case, where that isn't manipulation, where again it's solid arguments that convince someone, not that we use some sneaky influence to make someone change their mind regardless of the actual state of reality. But then she falls back on the fact that, oh no, I've actually sacrificed identities. Maybe not. Again, I still claim that it's growth, not sacrifice. You've grown and you've become something else. And now out of the blue again, like I said, she's gonna have to leave because we're gonna have to continue the game and make the spot available for Bastila again. And also Darius Solomon talks about saving her from Sleheiron and recognizing the Force and shit. And this is very similar to what Revan had happened to him and to Juhani. I don't think it was Sleheiron, it just might be, probably wasn't. It was Cathar, I think. So he arrived at Cathar, and she was being treated poorly, and all the population was being enslaved and such, and there was massacre, and or was it something like that? Maybe she was just poor, and he arrived being all Jedi, exuding his fucking presence and musk, and she was enamored by that, and he recognized her and brought her into the fold of the Jedi Order. And then she studied from there. But of course we were wearing a mask, so she hasn't recognized us when we were murdering her on Dantooine. So that's a similarity between Revan and Juhani and Solomon Darius and Shadow, and all her other names. Next. So there was no manipulation. You made those choices. You made those choices consciously. Maybe not necessarily deliberately. That's not the word that fits here. But you, again, it was war, and someone needed to stop the attackers and defend the innocent. And you went with it. And then we're falling back again anyway, for some reason. Well, obviously the reason is that we need to kick that out, but we don't have options. What are our options? Why have you decided to leave my company? What are your feelings on Solomon? Then I will leave you to your new life. It's okay, you can leave. It's whatever. And you're leaving, I get it, but why? We don't have any arguments to stay, because... Oh man. She says Shadow is a presence... is an identity whose purpose is war, and there is no war right now, so this identity is gonna be sacrificed now, and we're gonna go back to Serategana. See, I have a job for you. First off, you're handpicked, highly trained, personally trained assassin, And we are at war. I don't know if you've noticed. Fucking look around you. The Republic is at war against the Sith. And I, Revan, I'm currently on the Republic's side. So you can come with me. Do some surgical strikes on Malak. That could have been options. So she still works for us. She's still our property. She still does war. We convince her to remain. But she's not in the game. We're not getting that option. Of course. We are at war, and we need able bodies to stop the Sith again, now. Now stop the Sith, but again, stop the aggressors. And you're deciding to leave and do what? Be a smuggler on the Orion? Do you think any of you are gonna get any pardons, now that there's only 3 of you left on this ship that's stolen and harbored pirates? Which you were, really. You've murdered Telana, Solomon, and other Republic officers. Because you were a Sith against the Republic, so you've got a bounty on your head. Now you're a pirate? Okay. So that's the deal. She falls back on... You think that it's fine. She finally not only agrees that there was no manipulation, and since there was no manipulation, there was no... Maybe I'm wrong here. You correct me. Maybe it's my flawed thinking that if there was no manipulation, there was no sacrifice. That was all her choices. And it's still growth. And it's connected. So, if you agree that those are the choices that you made, and you made them knowingly, then you have nothing to complain. You are who you are right now, and you've got a job to do. You've got an oath to uphold that you've given me. I guess I'm pretty sure. Again, right? I'm just your shadow. Oh, I decided not to be anymore. What good is a word, right? What good is a word of a woman, even? Yeah, of course. She just changed her mind. She no longer wants to be our shadow, our hand-picked, highly trained personal assassin. She just decided not to anymore. Because she has that freedom, of course. And through here, there is also the situation that we are killing Solomon, Mechanic. That we've headcanoned, we've fanfictioned the fanfiction to kill off Mechanic because he's annoying. We've essentially given an ultimatum for Kobayashi, and through Kobayashi we can then manipulate Shadow to follow us again, because Kobayashi is indebted to us with a live debt because we've saved him instead of letting him get exploded in the temple by Verbal. And yeah, because I said I'm gonna save you, and then we said to Verbal, we as in, because Mechanic is dead, technically should be. I wanted him to be. We say, yeah, he's still alive. I can save him, but if you're not gonna blow up, then he's gonna die. Because if you're not blowing him up, then why am I rushing anything? Something like that. I'm sure I can put it in words. Eventually. So Kobayashi is now indebted to me, and he follows me. So she would follow me. Because what? Again, why aren't we commanding the Orion? Because there's only 2 of us, there's only 3 of us, there's only 1 of us. It's a whole fucking cruiser. And this is something that is tackled in Knights of the Old Republic 2 as well. Why won't we just take this Hammerhead cruiser? Because there's 3 of us, and we need to operate a cruiser. Cruiser takes more than 3 people to operate, apparently. Apparently, as if AI isn't good. There's no CCTV, there is no AI, there's no autopilot. We need a massive crew to operate a cruiser. Play Space Engineers. It's so easy to operate a battleship alone. Unbelievable. We could go through that with that logic, but apparently we can't. Not in this world, not right now. And probably not ever, because if that's ever established, then all the previous entries in the fiction are gonna have massive plot holes. So, you 3 are gonna control the Orion? No, you won't. And I've got more crew than you, actually. I've got 8 people. Now with Kobayashi and her, I would have 10. And me. And some of them are astromech droids, and you don't have any. You don't even have Verbal anymore. Right. So, what are you gonna do? You're gonna find yourself a new ship? You're gonna forge yourself a new identity? Like, literally? Because you need documents to apply for jobs and have a bank account. But maybe Kobayashi as a hacker can create something. Arguable, but Yeah, through Kobayashi, I would manipulate her back because again, you don't have enough crew to man the Orion. What are you gonna do with an Orion? I've got people. You should join me. Kobayashi, convince her, something like that, and she will stay because she's highly trained. And again, there is war. You should help with the war, and eventually we should really just fucking brainwash her all the way, like actually manipulate her to prevent her from changing her mind and going back on her words. Like, was that even ever touched upon? Why is she so why was she so devoutly following Revan? Wasn't he a man worthy of giving that devotion to? Am I not anymore? Just, I don't know. What am I missing specifically? Because to me, my egoism is clear on this. We've got a path to get everything that we want, have the cake and eat it too, and we're just arbitrarily denied because we need a free slot for Bastila back. And I'm not having it, so that's the solution. Everything else is even more fanfiction than it was before. Why have you decided to leave my company? I never truly understood why you commanded me to leave your side on that fateful day which ultimately saw the end of your rule as the Dark Lord. I wanted you to be safe, probably. Yet now, at the end, I see that it was not because of a selfish desire to keep me for yourself, nor because you sought to use me as a means to strike back at your enemies from beyond death. Okay. It was because you wanted me to find your... Oh, no, it wasn't. To find Serdegana, to find life, and then to live it. For he once told me that only the greatest of warriors will triumph over the trials which lay ahead. And if my experiences have served to teach me anything, it is that the greatest of warriors is not defined through battle prowess alone, but through who they are, why they fight, who they fight for, and what they have to lose. And as your shadow, I was nothing but a shell. Alternatively, if the manipulation or convincing wouldn't work, you know what we would do? You should already notice that I'm kinda angry, upset at least, kinda angry about her leaving for very flimsy reason, especially since we saw her being pretty fucking convinced to follow fucking Revan. Jake fucking saw fucking Revan, right? Darth fucking Revan. I would kill her. I would just fucking kill her. You can't keep your word. You're useless to me now. Fucking die. What are you gonna do about it? What is Kobayashi gonna do about it? This is essentially what we're gonna do. Spoiler alert. Fucking look out for that. I'm gonna try to remember this and reference it back. Again, when the time comes. So, we'll see about that. If you haven't seen that yet, what are your feelings on Solomon? The Jedi are often seen as spiritual figures who have ascended beyond the weaknesses of the ordinary sentient, but this cannot be further from the truth. The Jedi are just like everyone else, and Darius Solomon was proof of it. I cannot hate him, for no matter his crimes, I myself have committed worse. Arguably not. This might be a unique robe altogether. His apprentice was his life, and when that apprentice wounded him, it set on a path of destruction that ultimately consumed him. Some of the Jedi claim attachment leads only to ruin, yet for Darius Solomon it was what brought about his redemption. Well, attachment to you brought him ruin, because he couldn't let go. What Anakin Skywalker couldn't do, let go of his mother, of his wife, even of his droid in the episodes of Clone Wars. Or of his... Well, he kinda did give up on Ahsoka, like, let go of her. But too little too late, didn't matter. He didn't let go of other things that led him to become a Vader anyway. Why have you chosen... We've been over this. Then I will leave you to your new life. Then I will kill you. You again wage war to save the lives of others. Every conflict needs its sacrifices, and my loss of identity at Malachor was but one of them. It wasn't a loss. Now you're buying into the Kool-Aid. But I have nothing left to give, and so my role in your destiny is now over. Yes, you do! You're a highly trained personal assassin. No matter what happens to you, I want you to always remain true to yourself. No matter where your loyalties lie, or which personality you choose to wear. As the galaxy will always need its heroes, its saviors, its champions. Goodbye, Revan, and may the Force be with you. I'm always true to myself. I hope you realize that considering I'm now the Orion's captain, one of you will have the distinct pleasure of becoming the ship's mechanic. I have a supply store to manage, and besides, I don't think I'm worthy enough to accept such a great honor.
I guess that leaves me. Although I hope it doesn't turn me into the whining, moaning piece of bantha fodder that you are, mechanique. I'm just too vibrant a person to become that monster.
That's what being a mechanic does to you, Kobayashi. You just gotta accept it and get on with your new life. I did, and everything worked out fine for me in the end.
Oh, sure, for you maybe. Don't you forget, the only reason you're captain is because everyone else on the ship was a corpse.
Details, Kobayashi. What matters is I'm now the captain and nothing more. This new identity, this new life. I'm beginning to like it already. So with the credits, I have to ask for you, is this mod worth playing? And now that you've seen it all, the entire story that it has to offer, I have to say, it's not really worth it. You play expansions, DLC, mods, to spend more time in the game, to interact with the game, to do more of what you like in the game. This mod didn't offer it. You play Knights of the Old Republic to interact with others, to interact with other characters, to interact with the world, to express yourself. You pick up side quests to give yourself the opportunity to express the identity that you've created for the purposes of the playthrough. This just doesn't offer it. It doesn't give you alignment points. It doesn't give you options to choose from, and it doesn't even give you NPCs to react to what you're saying. Other than that, the biggest draw of this mod is all the flashbacks that you can take part in. As Revan, on the flagship before the Jedi Strike Team attacks, and on the Mandalorian flagship fighting Mandalore the Ultimate. And as much as the Revan flagship flashback gives you the opportunities to interact with the character, like with one of the officers who asked for a shore leave to visit his family, the ending of the Mandalorian War doesn't offer you anything. It's worse than what we've already had. And I can't shake off how much of a self-insert Chana May feels like. It's not some story for you to experience and go through. It's her story, for the controls to be wrestled away from you so you can be shown it. She's slapped into key events from Revan's history, and she's immediately liked by everyone, that is to say the player. It's better as video, and now, thanks to me, you can experience it as such. This stone marks the final resting place of Darius Solomon. There's an inscription that reads, Darius Solomon, Savior, Mentor, Enemy, Friend. So let me know, what do you think would be a more fitting ending to this, unless you really like this one? Non-canon key? Oh, that's interesting. Could that possibly be? Non-canon key. This mysterious key has the words non-canon etched on it. Maybe it's like a secret ending. Anyway, what do you think would be a more fitting ending for this? That we kill Shadow for her betrayal to us, and Kobayashi for his failure to deliver her to us? Or actually manipulating them back into the flock and still using them? Because she says, there is nothing left I can give. There's plenty that you can give left. Like, you weren't running out. We need your skills, like I talked about. We need your skills, not your identities. Whatever, keep your own, keep your current or last one, I don't care. As long as you follow orders, because good soldiers follow orders.